open up that Crystal Pepsi and get comfortable. This is Dope Nostalgia.
Welcome, friends. It's Dope Nostalgia time. I'm Naomi, your host. This is episode 208, and today we're going to be talking about one of the greatest dance acts of the 90s, C+C Music Factory. They were hot. They were a big deal, especially in the early to mid 90s. So I'll tell you all about C+C Music Factory with my special guest today, Jamie, from that 80s and 90s podcast. Now, it's been some time since I've recorded anything new because in the last month, I've been very busy going back and forth to the U.S. for the Magic Summer Tour. I got to attend 4 shows with DJ Jazzy Jeff, Paula Abdul, and New Kids on the Block, and made some incredible memories. I got to meet Paula, got to meet all the guys in a one-on-one meet and greet. It was such a fantastic time. If you want to know more about it, there is a bonus episode that takes place live from Girl Rat Tail's car on the road between Chicago and Detroit during the Magic Summer Tour. That episode is just a couple back from here, and I'd love it for you to check it out. Tell me what you think. And then in the meanwhile, here is some background info on C+C Music Factory.
Wikipedia moments.
Please bear in mind that Wikipedia is not to be taken as actual 100% fact. Any donkey could edit it at any time. If I'm reading you the artist's bio, that stuff is real truth.
There is a lot to unpack with this group, C+C Music Factory. They were an American musical group formed in 1989 by David Cole and Robert Clivilles. The group is best known for their 5 hit singles, Gonna Make You Sweat, parentheses, Everybody Dance Now, parentheses, Here We Go, parentheses, Let's Rock and Roll, parentheses, Things That Make You Go, Just a Touch of Love, and Keep It Coming. The band stopped recording in 1996 following Cole's death. In 2010, C+C Music Factory reformed with Eric Kupper replacing Cole. Original member Freedom Williams acquired trademark rights to the name in 2003 and still tours under that moniker. C+C Music Factory have earned 35 music industry awards, including 5 Billboard Music Awards, 5 American Music Awards, and 2 MTV Video Music Awards. In December 2016, Billboard magazine ranked them as the 44th most successful dance artist of all time. I'm not sure if Cole and Clivilles considered themselves a group because basically they were a duo that hired singers and rappers to do the songs. The most famous lineup, though, would include Freedom Williams and Zelma Davis as the faces of C+C Music Factory. But lots of people didn't know that the original singer on Everybody Dance Now was the multi-talented megastar Martha Wash. So you'll learn so much more about all of that when we talk to our friend Jamie from the 80s and 90s podcast. Welcome, Jamie, to the show.
Hey, what's up, Naomi? How you doing?
I'm good. Well, welcome, Jamie, from the 80s and 90s podcast. Tell me, it's you and a co-host, correct?
Yeah, it's me and Milo Dennison, actor, writer, extraordinaire, cool guy. But we tend to kind of do things separate when we guest because he's all the way over in England. He's not English. He's from where I'm from, but he lives over on the other side of the planet. So we just kind of tend to do our own thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When do you guys plan to get like your schedules like to do your show when it's like that 7-hour? Well, what time zone are you in?
So I'm in the Pacific time zone.
So you guys got like an 8-hour difference. Is that right?
Yeah. So we actually just podcasted earlier today, but now he's sleeping. He likes his sleep.
So
how dedicated the craft is he? I don't know, but
how frequently do you guys put out an episode?
So we put out episodes every Monday because Monday sucks ass, right? So you might as well have some fun on Monday. And so we have the 80s and 90s uncensored podcast, and we talk about everything 80s and 90s. So it could be a lot of pop culture, movies, music, TV, but we talk about events. Anything is game if it happened in the 80s or 90s, or if it has to do with anything 80s and 90s.
That gives you so much material, which is amazing.
It is. A lot of people are like, hey, you need to find a niche. And we're like, we're too like scatterbrained to find a niche. We just gotta just explore it all. That's
Hey,
our
that's
that's
not a
our
bad thing.
jam.
When did the podcast start?
January 11th, 2021.
Yeah.
So
Now,
we're a couple years old.
what inspired you to decide to make this show, especially around that time?
So I actually accosted my friend Milo because he's like this cool guy. He's a writer, actor, whatever. MiloDennison.com, by the way. Little plug. But I was like, hey, I'm making a website because I like to do web design and blogging, and I kind of wanted a canvas for just kind of fun web stuff. And he's like, dude, I'm not into that. But if you want to do a podcast, maybe we can start that up. And I'm like, what is that? A net to catch whales? What does that even mean? Like, I didn't even know what a podcast was, right? Are you gonna catch dolphins? What are you doing? It's like, no, it's like a radio show, but it's on the internet. If you want to try that out.
Hmm.
He has a number of other podcasts that he does. But I was like, okay, and we did it, and we've been doing it ever since because like I can't commit to things I don't like. I'm a flaky dude. But if I like something, I'll totally commit to it. So we've been doing this for like 2.5 years. Probably keep doing it because it's like the only thing that I enjoy.
Well, what's been a favorite episode for you that rings a bell?
I like our versus episodes. So, for instance, we'll pit Gilbert Gottfried against Bobcat Goldthwait. Um,
Nice.
or we'll talk about which Ninja Turtles would date which Golden Girls.
Mhm.
Those are our weird ones. I don't think he likes them as much, but I like those. But those are probably my favorites.
Have you had any, do you ever have any guests on the show, or is it just the two of you?
Yeah, we do. We often have guests mainly because we just like to have other people on that are fun and kind of like-minded.
Mm.
So we have a lot of authors accosting us who wrote cool books that maybe have to do with the 80s and 90s. So a lot of authors. But we also have other podcasters um that come on the show and talk about specific topics with us.
Hmm.
So we love to have guests. It's not every episode, but we actually try to get guests just because it's just fun to meet new people. Just like
Hmm.
I'm meeting you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's cool, right?
It's true.
We didn't choose the podcast life. It chose us, right?
Yeah, actually, it's been cool because like I have met a few new friends just from inviting new guests on the show. Like
Hmm.
I have a friend who he started a blog back in I don't know how long ago, 10, 15 years ago, called
Hmm.
Milk Carton Pop Stars.
Mm.
And it was kind of like a Where Are They Now blog. It's still up there on the internet, but I got him on the show and now he's been on the show several times. I went down to Chicago, we hung out. Great guy. His name's Joe. Sweet. So you never know what'll happen, right?
Yeah, you never know. We met Genevieve Hassan, who does a podcast where she actually interviews like where are they now celebrities. She's a former BBC celebrity host, like
Mm.
entertainment interviewer. She's interviewed Robin Williams,
Oh,
and
cool.
she's been on a number of times just because we begged her to come on and talk to us. Because we're gonna talk to her.
Hmm.
But yeah, podcasting is great. And podcasting about the old days is great because the old days were awesome. I don't care what anybody says. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. There's something about nostalgia that is soothing. I mean, a lot of nostalgia stuff I think came back out around 2020, 2021 too, because of all
Hmm.
the other garbage going on in the world, of course, right?
Yeah,
So,
and we thought our core audience would be middle-aged dudes like us, but
mhm,
it turns out like at least half are women
mhm,
and a quarter are like people younger, like not even they don't even remember any of this stuff per se, but they have kind of a nostalgia for it.
mhm.
So think about like when I was a kid in the 80s, I used to think about the 50s, kind of cool, kind of nostalgic. So a, a chunk of our audience is younger people who just want to hear about the old days. And I'm like, well, let me tell you all about it.
Doesn't that feel like being a fun uncle?
I am the fun uncle. That's right. I used to have an Uncle Mike, and he smelled like Coors Banquet and Marlboro Reds. And he's the like family pariah, but he's the coolest uncle ever. He's the one who sits up with you and plays Nintendo and watches USA Up All Night.
Mm,
And you're like, why does everybody think that this is the bad guy? This is the good guy in my book.
hell yeah.
I'm like that. I'm like Uncle Mike now. Yeah, on the internet.
On
So I
the-
have like a whole bunch of I'm the cool Uncle Mike for many a young folks out there. So yeah, that's rad, right?
I love that. They can't be discounted just because they're Gen Zs. Like sometimes they'll actually like really be into our music and our fashion. I know fashion's come back so hard that
Hmm.
they love it.
Because they know what's awesome. They finally come to the light.
Hmm.
So good for them.
Well, I'm proud. I'm doing a new segment too where I'm starting to interview them to ask them like quick fire questions about the 90s just to see how that goes. That should be
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Well, I don't I'm a Gen X dad, so like before my son can reach manhood, we had to have watched Roadhouse together.
Roadhouse.
So stuff like that.
I love that. I love that. Now when we were talking about getting together today,
Hmm.
and I always send out this big list of artists that we could cover. And this is the one we decided on, right? CNC Music Factory.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. It's so good. C+C Music Factory is so good.
What a sordid history though. Like it's they had some trouble.
Yeah, they were kind of all over the place and they had multiple members,
Hmm.
but the core members were David Cole and Robert Clivilles. I
That's
try to
right.
say it Spanish style because that's what like. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but that's why it's
Clivilles.
CNC because
Yeah.
it's the two of them who started it, right?
Mm,
And
exactly.
it's C plus C, not an ampersand. It's a plus.
I should just start saying C plus C, like it should be.
And then the geeks will be like, "What? Mathematically not inclined."
How did
But
you
they're
discover them though?
so I was around, right? I was a kid when they came out.
Hmm.
And so they came out with the big Gonna Make You Sweat. Everybody dance now. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, everybody loved that song.
Yep.
Everybody loved that song. And then I'm so glad I talked to you because there are so many things I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
So Martha Wash of It's Raining Men fame, right? It's raining men. She's the one who sang that hook that we all love. Everybody dance now.
Yep.
But I didn't know that because a lot of people didn't know that. Because in fact, in the music video, I think it was their other vocalist, Zelma. Was it Zelma
Zelma.
Davis?
Zelma Davis.
In the video, she was kind of lip syncing it.
Hmm.
And Zelma is a good singer in her own right. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, she is. Yes.
But that whole everybody dance now, that's a big thing in in the early 90s, right? That is the song of the early 90s.
Yeah.
So I was interested, like, and I looked it up, and then I saw this whole thing where Martha went on Arsenio Hall, and she was like, "Oh, do you want me to do it? Everybody dance now!" And everybody's freaking out. So there's a whole history here. It's an interesting group. It's an interesting subject to explore.
There's a lot. I mean, that's the biggest obvious thing that went on was because that song was their token song when you think of them.
Hmm.
And the fact that they had put up a front to hide Martha being the singer was something at the time that I think a lot of dance house artists were doing or thinking of doing. Because I mean, the same thing happened with Black Box, and it was Martha
Hmm.
Wash again that they did it to. So I mean, yeah, she is a legend. So
Martha.
it didn't make any sense that that happened. I got to feel for Zelma Davis, though. I do feel for her in this situation because I feel like she probably felt a little helpless, like she kind of had to go along for the ride and just do that and pretend.
Yeah. Well, then we were getting into the Milli Vanilli phase of the world, right? Where hey,
Yeah.
lip syncing isn't actually cool. Um, so I think later, Martha kind of had a little lawsuit, and this was in the 90s, being like, "Hey, I was uncredited." And Zelma, as good as she is, like she was singing my song.
Hmm.
So then there was a whole like lawsuit and a whole settlement about how Martha had to be credited on MTV and get some royalties and all that. You know what I'm saying?
As she should.
Yeah, totally. I'm not saying Zelma Davis is beautiful. That's why they had her like lip sync it because
Yeah.
she's a beautiful, but she's also a good vocalist. But she didn't sing that.
Hmm.
But it's good, and this goes back to like the first half of the 90s where you had this kind of Euro dance, Euro house mixed in with the hip hop from like New York meshing together. And it was,
Hmm.
I think it's probably the best time for dance music ever.
It was so good.
It was so good. You had so much good dance music from like 89 to like 94, 95.
Mm.
And this was CNC Music Factory is one of those where they were just like just killing it with the dance music. So you know when you're a kid in the early 90s, you're like, "Oh, I want to sweat. Let the music rule you." Yes.
Yep, it worked. And man, imagine all the cheerleaders dancing to that tune,
So good.
all the
So upbeat.
routines.
Oh yeah, cheerleaders. Oh,
I
and
bet
you
you they
never,
still use that song.
yeah, and you because you could never repeat it.
Mm.
The early 90s and the CNC Music Factory kind of vibe in the first part of the 90s. I don't think there was anything before or after it. Like I think it was the pinnacle of dance music.
I
I'm gonna
agree.
say it. I'm gonna say it.
I agree. And I know it's because I'm not really invested or caring about what's EDM nowadays. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. But that's just my
Mm.
personal opinion. But back then, man,
No, it's fact. What you're saying
yeah.
is fact. But back then it was because they're still using it today.
Hmm.
So CNC Music Factory had a number of other things aside from Sweat, like Here We Go, Let's Rock and Roll,
Hmm.
things that make you go, hmm.
Ooh, and that's my other favorite one by them because like they got that phrase from Arsenio.
Yeah, they did. And Arsenio was, I think, the best late night talk show of the time.
Yes.
So when Bobcat Goldthwait went after he, like as he was about to get canceled, Arsenio, and totally wrecked the stage, I felt that because I think Arsenio was the best.
He
So
was.
they used things that make you go, hmm, as a kind of a inspiration for that sweet song, right?
Hmm.
And then that's when Martha went on Arsenio Hall too and said, "Oh, by the way, I'm the person who sings dance now." She did it, and
Yeah.
everybody went crazy, dude.
Yes.
So you have Arsenio Hall, CNC Music Factory. This was like the first half of the 90s. It can never be replicated.
Hmm.
Never be replicated.
No, there'll never be a group like this again. And there, like you said, there's different members that came and went, but the most
Mhm.
popular lineup was the one with Zelma and Freedom Williams fronting as the rapper.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Now,
that's right.
Freedom was this super buff dude, looked really cool. He could dance, had good flow. Everything about him was really cool. And yeah, it was a really appealing look. And that's what, like, did you see them accept their American Music Award? That clip on the old interweb. It's it's kind of interesting because they're thanking the crowd for sticking by them and not believing the hype or not believing everything that was going on at the time with the lip syncing scandal and the stealing of music and all of that kind of thing. So I was kind of like, but you guys are kind of lying.
Yeah, but here's a little bit of a difference. So this all came down during the Milli Vanilli thing, right?
Yeah.
Where they were straight up lip syncing everything, and they were dancing around lip syncing everything. I think this was a little more mild in that case, where
Mhm.
CNC Music Factory was a factory indeed, right? It had a number of different, singers and DJs and musicians, and it was kind of a, I don't know, Kids Incorporated-ish kind of thing in a way because it had multiple members.
Cole and
Um,
Clivilles were the ones that were the solid. This is the
the
group.
two, this is our thing, right? And often as DJs do, maybe they have featuring this vocal singer or that vocal singer or this dancers or that dancers. It really is kind of a, and that's what made it cool is because it was really a kind of a company as opposed to just one or two artists, right?
Mhm.
So I don't really like I don't think they were Milli Vanilli in their thing. I don't think they were trying to be. That's the difference. It's intention, right?
Yeah.
Milli Vanilli, that dude, the producer dude had a full intention of making these dancers singers that nobody knew that they could sing, right? That was intention. This
That
was
was
just, hey, we're making a show. We got multiple singers and awesome sauce happening. And yeah, I get you don't like that we put her voice on her, but we settled it and it's fine. That's the difference. I think that's the difference.
because in the end, Martha came back and did more music with them
Yeah.
after the lawsuit was settled. So, I mean, at least it all worked out,
Hmm. Yeah,
and
I agree.
the
I don't
world
I
knows
don't
it was
think it
her.
was I think the intent was art. The intent was not deception like the whole Vanilli thing. So
Mhm.
so I'm interested. Did you go to dance clubs like when
During that
CNC,
time,
yeah, during that time?
I was 12.
Oh yeah, me too. But here's the thing, like
Yeah,
later on, so
I
I
made my
didn't
own dance clubs.
but it was still cool for kids, man, because you're like,
Yep.
oh, and you're listening to it in school. It's the best. And you
Hmm.
wish you could go to the clubs. So I started going to clubs like in the late 90s after I joined the military and went to Tokyo.
Hmm.
Um, and I started going to the clubs in Tokyo, right? And it was a
Cool.
whole different vibe from the early 90s and the late 90s. Like the whole half of it was different because the later half that I remember that was kind of modern was like more techno and housey kind of stuff. Like,
Hmm.
but I actually went to clubs that purposely played early 90s stuff like this
Hmm.
because they're like, no, this is fun. We're gonna play this. So maybe they were like maybe 5 years behind, but they were like, no, this is what we play. And I'm like, I'm going to hang out there.
Yep.
Because that is fun stuff. C+C Music Factory was fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole early half of the 90s, that was fun stuff. That was super fun.
Snap, Technotronic, all of that. Good.
Yeah, don't you think that was that's why I say it's the pinnacle of dance music. If I'm going to open a club here in my town in Issaquah and be like a dance club, which they would probably never allow, but if I were to I would do nothing but like 89 to 95. And a lot of C+C Music Factory.
Go ahead, baby. The jam, the party is packed and I rap. Girls wall to wall, there's my man hanging out in the back. So I cruise, slide through the dance floor. I never seen a club so hyped before. Get on the mic and get raw, back to back, punch the front door to door. Everybody dance to the new sound, rock and roll, soul to soul. I bring it on down from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom. I got 'em. People everywhere, they jump, they fling their hair, they shake their derriere. Oh yeah, so loosen your body and let me take control. Let's rock and roll. Here we go. 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 We're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna rock the soul. We're gonna make you groove. Everybody move.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hi. If you enjoy Dope Nostalgia, thank you. Consider becoming a Patreon subscriber today for as little as $1 a month. It helps keep the show on the air and rolling. So if you want to check out our Patreon, it's at patreon.com/dope nostalgia. $1 a month, and you'll be helping support one of your favorite podcasts.
What's up, party people? This is DC, the brain supreme of tag team. You're listening to the Dopeness Nostalgia Podcast. Whoop! There it is. Peace. Sprinkles!
Hello! Live Through That is back for another season, and what a great season of stories we've got planned for you. I keep calling it our Legends season with folks like Steve Diggle from the Buzzcocks,
Now I know the meaning of death, but now I also know the meaning of life.
Jerry Casale from Devo,
Am I in the twilight zone here? Like, I know what happened, and look at what is being presented.
a personal hero of mine, Colin Moulding from XTC,
I think when you get to our age, you have to really think carefully about how you want to spend your time, because time becomes even more precious, you know.
Barry Andrews from Shriekback, Steve Kilby from The Church,
And despite all the success and music and tours and all of that, I didn't really like being me. And when I had heroin, I liked being me. I was very comfortable.
David Newton from the Mighty Lemon Drops,
It was just kind of mesmerizing and mind blowing. This whole situation that we're in, we're going, and none of us had ever been to London before.
and there'll be more surprises too. Live Through That is available wherever you get your podcasts. Please subscribe and follow so that you'll know the moment a new episode is released, and it's free. And we've got over 50 episodes in the archive for you to listen to now. You can also follow me on Threads at Mike Hipple and Facebook at Mike Hipple Photo, all one word. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Is there anyone out there who still isn't clear about what doing drugs does? Okay, last time. This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Come on, party time. Come on, drop
I'm sure CNC did a lot of work on other artists' tracks too. Like there was a lot of remixes that they did. I'm pretty sure they did something for Mariah. They worked with Mariah, and they worked with New Kids on the Block on their remix album. They did Freedom was in one of their videos.
Call it what you want, but I call it love. Fits like a glove, don't shove. Back and forth and back. Get into the track. Feel the groove and move back into position, cause I'm coming straight for your heart. Feel the vibe, then start, cause I want you and I know that you want me, so let's get busy.
So yeah, they were when they were hitting it big, they were involved in a lot of other artists at the time and their tracks as well. So even before CNC Music Factory was their own huge thing, Cole and Clivilles had made a girl group called Seduction. Did you hear about that?
Tell me about it.
Yeah, basically they had put together this girl group and created them and wrote all their music and produced them. And they had a couple minor hits on the radio and had gone out on, did all the, the press circuits and stuff. Seduction was a bit known,
Yeah.
I'd love to get them on the show, actually.
Yeah, let's do it.
That'd be wicked. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but David and Robert actually, this was their thing, but they were producers at their core, right?
Yeah.
So didn't they start out, they met when they were younger and they had like a group called Two Puerto Ricans, a black man and a Dominican.
Sure did.
Which is a crazy name for a group, right?
Sure.
But then
did.
they had the 28th Street Crew. But then they wrote a whole bunch of songs for some big artists like Mariah Carey, right?
Yeah.
So I think they were producers at heart.
Yep.
And I just missed, I don't think there will be anything like the first part of the 90s for this type of music. I think it's the best.
Mm-hmm. I can only hope that some kind of revival would happen in that genre. But unfortunately, David Cole passed away rather young. And it's kind of been, people say that he died of spinal meningitis. But it's also been, some people have rumored that he actually might have passed from AIDS, but they were trying to hide it. That's not for sure. I would hope that there wouldn't be any lying. It doesn't really matter what happened to him. It's just really unfortunate too that we lost him. He was a good man who was very talented.
Yeah, and it says a lot that CNC Music Factory dissolved because of that, right? So despite all of the artists and all of things happening, when he passed, it went away. It was gone. I think that was 95.
What ends up happening too is Mariah Carey, of course, being a friend of David Cole, when she and Boyz II Men wrote the song One Sweet Day, he was part of her thought process in that song when she was thinking about the people that she had lost, and it was partially in memory of him as well. And that song was one of the greatest charters of all time on the Billboard chart.
Yeah, and that just goes to show how much producers were a big deal back then. You can have talent, but even Mariah, we did an episode recently on Mariah Carey, and she was discovered by who she then married, but then he was kind of abusive and all this stuff. But producers were big. I think this was a big producer-based act, but I think it was so good because it's so danceable. Don't you want to dance?
I tried to dance
just
this
a touch
week
of
and
love, or keep it calm, and you just want to dance. You just want to get up.
Just a touch of love, just a touch of love. I remember that now. I tried to dance last week. I threw my hip out, man.
I know.
Seriously, I'm going to the chiropractor and everything. But anyways, I still want to dance.
I know I do when I hear CNC Music Factory. I want to dance because this is the quintessential dance music. I mean, they're even enticing you. Like they're saying, we're gonna make you sweat. And then in the parentheses, everybody dance now. I mean, you know what they want you to do. You want to dance, right? So yeah, that's why when I was in Tokyo, I used to go to like clubs that maybe people were not old, but just a little older. And they used to like to play this along with like 80s new wave stuff. Just because they wanted to go back a little bit. Now we're going back a lot. Like I don't know what people dance to. I don't know if there's dance clubs or whatever. Like I'd throw out a hip myself. Like I don't know what people dance to now, but it can't be as good as CNC Music Factory. It can't be.
No.
I don't think it can be.
Did you know when we talk about, I'm going to gravitate towards what's going on with them now and the members. Did you know that Freedom Williams acquired the trademark to use the name CNC Music Factory to promote himself? So Clivilles can't even use it. He took it from Clivilles. Clivilles was quoted saying this was the biggest insult in the world. So I don't know what to make of Freedom Williams of late, because he was supposed to come to one of he's doing those I Love the 90s tours, which is cool. Have you been to one of those?
I've heard about them, but I don't want to throw out a hip.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so he was I'm in Canada, right? So he was supposed to appear at ours. He never showed up. I wonder.
He never showed up?
He never showed up. And I don't.
So he acquired CNC Music Factory and then never showed up. In Canada, don't piss Canadians off. Jesus. What are you doing?
Nice to him.
I know.
I mean, I don't know what his reasons were. I don't know. Maybe some people can't cross the border. I don't know what it was. But not only that, but he took that from Clivilles. It makes me question, is he a mess right now? What's going on with Freedom? I don't know.
I don't know, but maybe if he can't handle the mantle of CNC Music Factory, he should just give it back to someone who can.
Yeah.
For the fans. If he's listening right now, for the fans. You know what I'm saying?
We would have loved to see you, Freedom. There's time to come back.
or Freedom, sell the rights again to people who appreciate. That's all I'm saying.
It could be.
So how did he even get the rights? How did that even happen? That's crazy.
He just bought them because for some reason they weren't actually owned by Clivilles already. So in some ways he has the right to do that, I suppose, on like that property, but I don't. It doesn't seem right.
Does he have a right to not show up?
No.
Hell to the no. You don't have a right to not show up.
I'm so
all
sad.
Legal stuff aside, CNC Music Factory needs to show up. Especially in Canada. Look, if you came down to the US and pissed us off, that's one thing. But you're pissing Canadians off? That's hard to do. Come on.
I don't get pissed off at these artists. I love them so much. So it's
know.
I'm not mad. I was disappointed. You know? That's all. There were some other artists there, so that was good. But I was looking forward to seeing Freedom. I really was. Anyway, so there's that. Zelma Davis, still fantastic, still beautiful and amazing. I actually reached out to her to see if she would be able to come on an episode sometime. She did get back to me saying that right now she's working on a project where she can't be doing any interviews, but there's a possibility in the future she could. So that would be really lovely.
Wow, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from Zelma.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, like, she's beautiful, dude. She's beautiful, and she's an awesome singer.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like everything. She's like the whole package. So if you can get a hold of Zelma, I will listen to that podcast episode.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yes. Selma's beautiful, dude.
And Robert Clivilles, I think he's still doing his thing. I think he kind of lays low in some ways, though. So I would also love to talk to him sometime. It would be nice for him to, set his record straight as well.
Yeah.
Just to share what he's been up to. So
what about Deborah Cooper?
I don't know about her. What can you tell me about her?
She was part of C+C Music Factory as both a lead and backup vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
Including the Deeper Love, Pride, and Keep It Coming. Dance So You Can't Dance.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, C+C Music Factory did not make any qualms about what they wanted you to do with their music.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted you to dance. Dance so you can't dance.
Oh my goodness.
But she was a vocalist on these ones, and even like that Dance Till You Can't Dance was a theme for the Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yep. The movie.
Yep. The movie, which I think is better than the show. A lot of people think the show is better. I don't think so, but
Christy Swanson, Luke Perry.
Yeah. What I'm talking about.
And
then there was rapper Q Unique. That's keep It Coming with rapper Q Unique.
Mm-hmm.
While the dance club version was solely Deborah Cooper vocals. So Deborah Cooper was part of this too. So I want to bring her into the fold.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, in recent years too, they've added different people like Eric Kupper, I should say, replacing Cole in 2010. So there was something that Morales was trying to do, or not Morales. David Morales was also involved with C+C Music Factory, and David Morales is a very popular and successful producer.
Mm-hmm.
So he was in the two Puerto Ricans, a black man and a Dominican.
No shit.
Yeah. So the more you know.
So here's the thing about C+C Music Factory. It is indeed a factory.
Mm-hmm.
It's amorphous in that the two guys who started it were C+C, but it's been amorphous ever since. It's been amorphous ever since they did their thing. It's amorphous. It's a music factory. Sometimes you bring new components in. Sometimes new components go out. It's a factory, right?
They had a song called Take a Toke. I'm looking at their titles. Take a Toke. I didn't hear this one. Maybe because I was too young. I'm just seeing that now. It came out in like 94 or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We should put a clip of that song in the show.
Totally. I don't know. I don't know that one either.
But yeah. As we're getting close to the end here, is there anything else that you would like to add that we might have missed?
I think I just did. But thanks for letting me hang out with you and talk about C+C Music Factory. I'm a big fan, actually, and I actually am happily learning lots of things about them. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. You're a lot of fun. You're a great guest. Jamie killed it.
No, I'm not. I'm a weirdo guest. I get it, but
I like
it. I dig this stuff because and even my pal Milo's like, damn, bro, you're really into this like 80s and 90s action, but I totally am. It's true. It's true. I am.
Do you wanna get funky with me? Rock to the beat, yeah. Rock to the beat, yeah. Rock to the beat, yeah. Rock to the beat, rock to the beat, yeah. 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 Rock to the beat,
Social media, yeah, we've got it. Send us an email, dopenostalgiapodcast@gmail.com. Twitter, Nostalgia Dope. Or on Insta, dope_nostalgia.
This podcast is licensed by SOCAN because we believe that artists should be paid for their work. Hey friends, I kind of miss getting those messages on my answering machine like we used to back in the day. What I'd really love is to hear from you, the listeners of Dope Nostalgia. This is your chance to be on the show, giving feedback, telling us what you love, what you hate, and who you'd like to see more of. Call us at our new toll-free number, 1-888-741-9192. Leave us some feedback. Your message could be played on the show. So give us a call, 1-888-741-9192. Toll free.